to the LEC and our match of the week between the MAD Lions and G2 Esports. And these teams have quite the history already. So we wanted to kick off proceedings with a small trivia quiz to see if our experts truly are experts. So I want to kick off with a special question for you,
Special
Rekkles.
questions?
Is this only for him? Or
This
is
is
like
only
it?
for him. You can sit on your hands. You're not allowed to buzz. You're not allowed to answer.
Classic.
So, Rekkles, have you won more games against MAD or Fnatic or as a G2? Oh, have you won more games against MAD as a Fnatic or as a G2 player?
Hint, he played 24 games against MAD, 12 with each team.
Ooh.
Beat them more times with Fnatic.
I would have thought that's the case. What about you guys?
I
What do you
actually
think?
think he's beaten them more times with G2.
I'm gonna guess it's equal.
A trick
it
question,
different.
eh?
Yeah, you know.
Eh?
It's equal.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride the line.
Trick question, okay.
12 and 12.
Let's get the answer. Oh, one more with Fnatic. I feel like that was quite obvious, to be honest.
I was
It
close,
wasn't a
though.
trick
Whoa, it was
question.
actually close. I didn't
Yeah.
think it would be close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely closer
But
than
that one didn't
expected.
count for us, so it doesn't matter.
Right, obviously not. Yeah.
But I got a point.
I think
So good luck now.
before we proceed with the quiz, you each need a buzzer.
No.
Yes, you do.
No,
Like, do we have to make a buzzer sound?
Yeah, you need to make a buzzer sound.
But aren't we all answering the question anyway? It's
All right,
not
I'll go with meow.
Meow.
We don't even know the format of the question.
Just come up with a buzzer.
Come up with a buzzer.
I wish to answer the question.
Do a quack. Do a quack.
Nice buzzer. I'm with you with that.
Rekkles, what's your buzzer?
Kirby.
Okay. What's your buzzer?
Can we answer the question?
This is the first question. What's your buzzer?
Quack then, I don't care.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Let's go.
Lovely. It's got to be a competition. This is esports. Okay, question. Number 2, technically number 1. The competition starts now. Which player got the most kills in a G2 versus MAD game? How many and on which champion?
It's multiple choice.
Shh. Use your buzzer.
Which player's got the most kills in a G2
Where did the
versus
multiple
MAD game?
choice go?
How many and on which champion?
All right, then.
I'm
It's
lost.
not multiple choice?
It's not multiple choice, no.
I'm lost.
Which player got the most kills in a G2 versus MAD game? Oh, okay.
Meow. I don't know. Caps with. No, wait. No, I don't know. Caps with
It
11.
has to be a Caps.
Caps
right?
11?
There's no way it's not Caps.
I
So
don't know.
I have some Kirby.
yeah.
Thank you, Rekkles.
Something that came to mind was Shadow's Olaf way back when they had that game 5, and I think he had like 11 kills maybe.
Oh, I don't
Get
know how
quite
many
a few
kills he had
kills.
exactly, but you're
that
right.
is a good answer.
So I'll go with that.
Kirby has it.
Yeah,
You're
But is it
absolutely
11?
I mean,
correct.
No, it was
No, this is
16.
correct. It was 16.
Oh,
But still,
yeah, but it was Shadow's
I'll
Olaf,
give him the
so
point
you're
for
getting the
that.
point. You
Are
don't
you
get
in
to
charge
give
of this
points, Vedi. I do. You
You're-
get the point. Okay,
It's really
take a
difficult
quick look at that
question.
moment.
Yeah, I did- wow,
I'm on
that's-
fire here.
Wow, that's a throwback. That
This
one
is, yeah, rookie
doesn't
MAD
die
Lions
here?
beating the 2020 G2 roster.
That's the same
Caps
game
on
as
6, the backdoor
Caps
attempt.
played 6 and they failed the backdoor.
Yeah.
Same
Oh,
game.
man,
I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah, I
Caps
remember
ball.
that.
Are you ready for question?
Yeah.
I don't think they are, but I'm ready.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Technically,
Okay,
you've got 2
Rekkles.
points now, Rekkles. Okay. How many best of 5s have G2 and MAD played against each other? I'll give you a bonus
this one's
point
yours.
if you can
You
tell
take
me
this
the
one.
How
series
many best of
score.
5s have G2 and MAD played against each other?
I still don't understand the ABCD.
Oh, we have
A6,
multiple
B8, C10, or D12?
Meow? B8? Do I have to do the series?
I can tell you,
It's not
and
double digits.
It's
You have
4
got-
to 4.
Kirby?
got it right. No.
Okay, it's just
There
one.
is a
You've
4
got to
to
let
4?
him answer, and
4
you're
to 4 in
right.
series score?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll find out if you get the bonus point.
Okay.
And you've also got the bonus point. So you've
I'm
got
a
2.
professional at this.
You've got
I
2,
knew that.
and Vedi knows nothing. Okay.
That was not a random guess.
Let's move on to
That
the
was
next
not a random
question.
guess.
This is going to be the final question, okay?
Okay.
So
So-
you're out. It's just
You
us
know
now.
what? To be fair,
No, this one's
if
for you.
Vedi gets this one
We all
right
get to
and
play.
he gives
It's
me
for
a
you,
good
it's for
buzzer
you.
sound, then maybe I'll give him 2
He
points.
didn't even want to do the buzzer sound.
Exactly.
Let
That's why
him
I might
buzzer
give him an
sound.
extra point.
Let
Okay.
him buzz.
So, I want you to roll. Well, I want production to roll a clip. I want you guys to watch it. I want to know how many kills we're about to see. So watch up to the point where we pause it.
Wait, and we're counting kills?
Well, you're going to predict how many kills we're going to see
I think I remember
here.
this. I think it's...
Meow.
Let him buzz.
Oh, sorry.
No, you can go if you want. It's fine.
It was
mind.
Let him at least buzz before you answer.
No, it's
You just
fine.
want to hear him quack.
9.
I'm pretty sure the answer's 0.
See, I wanted to go the other direction.
You know what, Vedi? If you quack, you can answer 0.
You have to quack, though.
On principle, I refuse, okay?
Oh, then no points.
It's fine. I will live with no points, but I do want to know how many kills there are.
Rekkles, I'm gonna let you have a guess as well.
So Kirby, 0. I'm with you with this. Yeah, 0.
Okay.
If he gets my points, I'm going to be upset.
Let's roll the clip.
All you had to do was quack. All you had to do. Fuck!
So I meant that 9 players are gonna live.
And that's what you meant.
So
and then
yeah,
one will
so
die.
it was just the 1 kill.
Yeah, you misinterpreted.
I said 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I get that one right.
I'll give you the point.
Thank
That's
you.
all that matters, right?
Cool. Will you give me a quack?
No.
Okay.
This is slightly
Save for
awkward
special
because
occasions.
technically none of you won, and
No,
I should
Rekkles
actually get
won.
rid of all of you. No, because these two were even. But you won the moral victory, I think, Rekkles.
I'm okay
Oh
with
well,
that.
I know.
I'll take
I won the
that.
bonus question.
You-
What are you talking about? He lost the bonus, and I won it because I guessed 4 to 4,
All that
and
matters
he had
is
the
that
kills
we
wrong
had
on
fun,
his.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
No.
Some of
we're
us-
all winners.
No.
We're all
Some of
winners.
us
No.
had fun. And at
if
least
you
someone is
won?
going to win this next matchup between the current Mad Lions and G2. And we should talk
Smash
about
the
what
week!
happened yesterday. It's match of the week. They both went 1-0 yesterday. And both of these teams definitely look more prepared than the other teams who headed to the Rift yesterday. And we should talk about Mad Lions first of all, because actually it was a new look for Mad Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Mad Lions looked really, really solid. Obviously, there was a lot being thrown their way after like the early tower dive into the bot lane kill, immediately responding on the top side to find the invade. I think throughout it all, it just felt like they were playing the stronger scaling composition, and as Vitaly were put in the corner of like not having the same scaling elements, they tried to force a lot of things. Key thing coming to my mind would be a lot of the dragons and the heralds that sort of got leashed, as there was a very clear priority coming through from the Mad Lions to get mid push, walk down, and just take away this objective.
And it's interesting when you contrast that to G2, who were just like super aggressive in their approach to the game yesterday. They were like willing to fight for every neutral objective. They were trying to force as many skirmishes as possible. And even though they dropped a couple kills in the other game after Mikyx got that triple kill on his Nami, it just felt like that the whole game was unlocked for G2, and they were kind of dominating across the board. So I'm curious as to how Mad are going to react to this level of pressure, because it definitely feels like G2's approach to the game right now is very much about quick, fast, and a little bit more aggressive around those neutrals.
Yeah, and for me, I think bot lane is going to be really interesting to see, because topside versus topside, I think both topsides have it under control. It feels like the meta really fits them. But bot lane, is it really bot lane for G2 or Mad? I don't think so. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this draft.
You want to see some top lane violence?
I do.
Ah, so do I. That's enough from us here, and definitely no more quizzes for the rest of the day, because it is time for the LG Ultra Gear match of the week. It's going to be Mad Lions versus G2 Esports.
For our first match of the week in summer, there was no other choice than the winners of the winter and spring splits. For as long as these teams have been in the league, they've been at one another's throats, throwing punches at each other constantly.
I think rivalries are so good for any competitive environment.
G2 are inevitable, G2 are inescapable, and they go back to back to back to back. 2021 has been the year of Mad Lions. Long live the Lion Kings!
This year alone, they've clashed multiple times, meeting in the playoffs and the finals. We are witnessing the birth of a new rivalry.
Beating G2 always feels great.
Or maybe it already exists.
9 titles before today. History and Historia for G2 as they claim their 10th title. For the 3rd time, Mad are your LEC champions. We've gone biblical, fratricide, as G2 sweep Mad Lions. Caps going in, good double deck shot, Yike going forward as well. The above and below is gonna find it, and already the shutdown. And Mad Lions, the story of throws and barons continues.
If there's any takeaways from MSI, it's that the bot lane will be crucial.
I was getting a bit tired of people saying that they're like the best team from Europe. That's why it felt good to like actually stomp them. Like it actually wasn't close.
I mean, on paper, we're probably way weaker than them, but I feel like in-game, if you ban Draven, we should be fine.
And we're here, now, in summer. G2 have gotten their revenge at MSI. But now it'll be the Mad Lions who are out for blood.
We are probably going to do really well, because I think everyone is even more hungry.
You never know what to expect from them. They could be really insane or they could be really bad. It's like a lot of confidence based. So if they win a lot, then they're more confident, and when they're confident, they play better.
You have sacrificed a lot to be where you are, and if you stop doing it now, then why the hell did you just do everything in your life?
But I think the biggest rivals right now is ourselves.
Welcome back to the LEC for our match of the week. I guess you never left. Incredible video. Excited to see it. I'm Drakos, joined by Dagda. We're here for an absolute banger. These teams have faced each other so many times in best of fives already. Now we get to see a best of one. Not quite the same thing, but maybe a teaser of more best of fives to come in the future.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how this is going to play out as well. The fact that we kind of got to see two different styles coming through from these teams yesterday. We got Mad Lions, we're like, we're going mega late game, screw everything. And you got G2, who are like, hey, we're going to take this Lucian, go aggressive. I want to see which one of these styles is going to come out on top as both these teams go head to head today.
You highlighted it, Dagda. Never mind. I was going to say a point, but that was my point. Thank you, Berlin. I like it. There's a rhythm to it. It feels correct. Will they? Yeah, they can hear them. They know. Will you give them what they want, Mad Lions and or G2? Big moment. Is this a democracy? We will find out momentarily. Does the crowd get a vote in the picks and bans? So far, no. Oh!
There it is.
G2 always a team of the people. Know how to please a crowd. Yumi band, Vi band, Maokai band, Draven band. Pretty standard stuff thus far. I would be curious to see if Milio's gonna hit the bench as well. It feels like once Yumi's out, Milio becomes that much more impactful.
Yeah, it feels like Milio, Neeko, Cassante, LeBlanc was going to be up and available, but now taken away. So there's still a lot here. I think Milio probably your best bet. Maybe we see that taken immediately. But it was kind of funny. Yesterday we had in our last game was the first time Neeko actually made it through the entire draft. But this time is going to be left up and available. Milio, though, is incredibly strong in that bot lane, synergizing so well with pretty much every pick that you want to take into the bot lane at the moment. So not surprised to see that hovered. But will Caps actually get his hands on the Neeko here?
And interesting that the Aphelios is ultimately going to be the ban that comes through here. A bit surprised. Mad Lions, do they want to try their hands at the Lucian Milio, as we've seen be very powerful, even especially in the early levels, like a more aggressive curving Lucian Nami, but now, oh, I'm so excited. I love this champion. We described it on Euphoria. This is the single most interesting champion in the meta, keeping what has been otherwise, outside of Static Shift LeBlanc, pretty uneventful. It's all eyes on Neeko. What can she do? What will she turn into? That's exciting stuff, but the Lucian also has been taken away to deny the combo on the side of Mad Lions.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what the answer is going to be. There is opportunities here if you wanted to go for something like a Jinx and just go, hey, we're going to go for a super late game scaling and try and go for a massive range advantage with the Milio, but instead they're going to go towards the Xayah and just try and fight a little bit more of that mid-game power with the Lucian and see if you can have a bit of pressure in the lane. It's not the most ideal of partners, I will say, but still one that can do relatively well.
Yeah, and obviously some safety for Carzzy overall. And if Nisqy wants to go for something scaling again, if that is an option that he wants to look towards, something like the Azir, having a AD carry that can protect themselves does make things a bit easier. But instead, the Cassante, obviously making it pretty far into the picks and bans, and top lane matchup, definitely the one that we have to keep our eyes on. A lot of history between these two players already this year, but BrokenBlade and Chasy yesterday, at least, were both playing phenomenally. See if they can replicate that today. G2 had to decide, do they want to match top lane here, risk some of the options getting banned out? They're happy to let those bans happen because they want to secure their bottom lane.
Yeah, and that's the question now, is what do you try to ban here at G2? Because you're looking at that Cassante can go mid, can go into top side. We've seen it go towards top more often than not in this patch, at least in LPL and LCK. So I imagine it's going there, but could still ban things like the Annie and that towards Nisqy. Just make sure that you're getting some of these big power picks off the board, and especially when you're looking at K'Sante's not great at engaging. You don't really have these tools of Mad Lions as of yet. With the Maokai gone, maybe you ban the Sejuani, something like an Annie, and just try and make these engages more difficult for Mad Lions.
And I think the Gragas is a great option to limit some of the engage potential, especially when you look at the nameplates on the opposite side. Nisqy obviously incredible on the champion, domestically banned so frequently at MSI and has been banned just about across the board in a lot of our games in the LEC thus far. Mad Lions really taking their time here, really debating what they want to shut down. Yesterday was a fantastic Renekton from BrokenBlade, but instead the Olaf, obviously, being unstoppable, just being able to run into Milio seems very strong. It definitely seems like a very positive interaction.
Also just really good on that top side as well into the K'Sante, so I imagine they're just like, hey, look, let's just get Chasy onto this pick. He was fantastic in our playoffs in spring as well on this pick. Absolutely monstrous in the finals against BDS, so definitely going to see if he can get at least that ball rolling once more. And then I think when you look across at G2, it's going to be a case of, cool, do we just end up matching with something like the Sion or the Ornn then for BrokenBlade in that top lane, try and play for something that's a bit more standard, and then just allow the fact that we have this Neeko and also the Lucian then to just be a nuisance and try and be a bit more creative around objective fights, because I think that's where G2 really shone yesterday.
And I'm wondering how ready Mad Lions feel for this Neeko. I've heard it's been banned a lot in scrims, because this is a nightmare champion. You know, people Nocturne turning off the lights. It's like the lights are off all the time. It's that invisible Evelyn pressure. Where is the Neeko? What does she look like? Will you be ganked by a Gromp this game? Will we get the Canyon impression? Gonna have to see exactly what they want to do with it, where they want to put it. For now, though, G2 Esports taking their time. Pretty easy to just blind pick a top laner here, I have to say, but you did highlight the flex potential of the K'Sante, even if we haven't seen it mid lane quite as much. And wait a second.
Okay.
Oh, it's the fear. This is a paranoia comp. At any moment, darkness can come down and that blast cone can start walking towards you with murderous intent.
The slowest of waddles.
It's like that episode of Doctor Who. The lights turn off, the blast cone starts walking forward. So now, Wukong coming out alongside the Ahri. Okay, so pretty stock standard for Mad Lions. Reminiscent of our playoffs. Milio really the only big difference here.
I do feel that the Nocturne is a bit of a weird one though, because when I think, oh yeah, I want to dive in onto an immobile AD carry, try and get a bunch of pressure down, and even tether with the fear as well. Well, Xayah's got the ultimate to keep herself safe while the Nocturne's diving in. You even got the Milio then for a lot of the opportunities to just get rid of that and cleanse some of the CC that's coming through from the Nocturne. So I think Yike will kind of have his work cut out for him here, and especially when he kind of is that sole engage, unless Caps can get a bit creative with where he's positioned on the map. I think this is going to be a difficult one, honestly, for G2 if you don't get the ball rolling early.
Definitely can be. See what they can do to set up snowball early, potentially. An early level 6 for Yike could obviously be pretty big. Have to see what Caps can do on the Neeko as well. Bot side set to be pretty explosive. We're not having really either side going for the hyper-scaling AD carry, even if there are, you know, those Enchanter support options. Interesting draft. This is a much more unique look, I think, from the side of G2. Mad Lions a bit more conventional, certainly, but the Xayah, you know, not quite the same reliable scaling, and so feels like we're ready to see fire matched with fire here in the early to mid game.
And it definitely feels like G2 have kind of drawn their line in the sand. They're like, hey, look, we want to try and fight for these early objectives. We saw it a lot yesterday, especially around things like the Rift Herald and that, but when you've got something like a Neeko trying to control that river and try and control the space as teams are trying to contest you on Dragon, on Rift Herald, becomes crucial, because trying to walk into a Neeko is nigh on impossible. So I want to see G2 playing towards that strength, controlling vision, and if you ever walk into the likes of G2 with the Poppy, the Neeko, that's where it becomes very, very difficult.
Well, it's time now for your match of the week, Mad Lions versus G2 Esports. Here we are, Dagda. I'm very ready to see the Neeko. And you might not see her portrait on screen right now because she's actually the Lucian. Love this champion. See, when she was bad and couldn't turn into a Blast clone, nobody cared. But now that she can turn into a Scryer's Bloom or a Gromp, all the rage, baby. That's all it took.
I mean, I don't know how many people have seen the Yagao clip, which is the one where he houses the bloom, the Scryer's Bloom, and just waits for someone to attempt to hit it. It is class. Like, I'm so excited to see what you can do, especially in the hands of someone like Caps. You know how creative he can be. So I want to see exactly what shenaniganery he can get up to in this one. But as G2 already starting to just try and control around the spot side, I'm pretty sure they're aware that Milio has walked pretty far up here, which is why we have Caps coming in here.
Caps walking down. They can fake right now. They can bait. One of them hovers in Fog of War. Uh-oh. They see 2 Lucians. Something's afoot. What the heck, 2 Lucians? 2014 LCK already to level 1. Coming through, Carzzy now in trouble. Hansama, the real Hansama, trying to finish the job. The heal now coming back with the auto. Getting first blood in our match of the week. Going to the AD carry for G2.
And that's just a great read from G2. They know that Carzzy and Hylissang had already started to walk up in that bottom side, so they get into position, make sure that they're able to keep themselves covered, and Caps able to wander down. I don't think they actually like spotted them out as they moved up there, but oh no, actually, yeah, there seems to be a ward in that brush bust.
Oh, they can't see the...
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just the ward there spots them out. Really good stuff there, and G2 able to punish perfectly.
Having the man advantage. Super close exchange in the end, but of course, extra bit of damage, all it took to have that work out in their favor. TP back now to mid lane. You can see in the back end of that replay. Caps, because he is able to get the assist, certainly is not hurting. Not able to go back and buy anything meaningful, but still feeling pretty comfortable in the laning phase as Yike just tries to power clear through, and currently ahead of Elyoya in the clear as well. So really early game right now, going swimmingly for G2.
Yeah, if you want to try and punish this as MAD, your best bet is to try and get Nisqy some sort of reset around about like 5:30 or something like that. Then have Nisqy TP back into lane, use the fact you've got an item advantage, like you should have your lost chapter at that stage, and really try and put the hurt down onto Caps, especially with Elyoya then being in a decent position. But we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do so. Just try and use the fact that you should have a quicker reset at some point. But Yike already trying to get down onto this bottom side again. Like, this is basically what G2 have been doing so well, is using any sort of mid push and bot push they have to get vision, just get in the face of the enemy jungler.
Root gonna connect on the Nisqy, just a bit of poke here. Checking on the top side, some trading back and forth. But yeah, Yike burning a decent amount of time, slowing down his own clear a little bit to lay down that deep vision, so we'll have to see what it does for G2. For now, at least, it's the information that they need to know that Wukong is on the top side of the map.
And I think it's been really interesting to see kind of the dichotomy that we've got over in like the LPL and LCK, and like how teams want to approach the change to minion waves. Because you've got like the waves now crashing at similar times, it doesn't really make as much sense to try and go for 4-man dives. So some teams have gone, right, we'll go for things like maybe Elises or Volley Bears and look for these dives as just 3-mans and become as powerful as possible. Whereas you've other teams who are like, oh, well, we can double crash and then actually look for invades and play off of things like Kindred and even carries like Nocturne and Yike. But it looks like he wants to go for these 3-man dives.
Aggressive option, most certainly. Flashes up both the MAD players. Let's see where they want to go. Flash back from Carzzy, rooting Hans! Oh, it's so clutch. Mikyx gonna get one back in return on the Nami. Chasy coming in just to cover, just in case. But a clean flashy or E-flash coming out from Carzzy just to lock down Hans.
Catches Hansama out completely. He even had a flash of his own, but wasn't ready for that. So nicely done by Carzzy to get that kill back. We'll lose a little, or we'll be able to pick up the rest of the wave as well. So it doesn't actually lose out on much at all on that bottom side. So really nice stuff now from MAD and trying to turn around this aggression from G2.
Yeah. And Yike now the one who's going to be hurting. He spent so much time on that bottom side of the map trying to further snowball that advantage that he's now behind in the jungle. Clear 2 camps to Elyoya. He's going to be crushing. Of course, his camps are going to be there. He can clear them out, but they're now all completely warded. So tracking this Nocturne in the early game is going to be that much easier for MAD. And he's pretty far away now from level 6. Just barely going to take over to 4 here on the next camp or so.
And that's the big one, is the fact you're delaying that level 6. So the opportunity for you to try and play off of those big ultimates aren't really going to be there. G2 at the moment still trying to utilize the fact that Neeko has pushed in that mid lane, though, try and continue the vision down. But if I'm Elyoya, I'm pretty happy with how this has gone, right? Carzzy get the turnaround playing bot lane, so he's okay. And even in that position now where you are, you're going to hit the level 6 first. You can start to make plays at, like, say, the Rift Herald, for example, because you haven't put time into actually trying to sit and babysit these lanes.
Little advantages continue to add up. G2 obviously holding on to a gold lead, 800 in their favor, but Elyoya should be able to sneak away this Drake without hurting too much overall. But that objective and the time spent to take it will give Yike an opportunity to catch up at least a little bit. But pressure on the bottom side in favor of MAD Lions at the moment. BrokenBlade keeping the top, but either side finding too many angles. Hansama continuing to get aggressive, but again, the feathers come back, and Hans flashing. But he's already taken the damage. Mikyx now backing up, but he wants to keep the trade going. Mikyx playing on the edge! And this time he's going to get taken down. Hylissang grabbing the kill.
The summon Ahri coming through there for Hilly, managing to pick up that kill. Really nice stuff. Carzzy is playing like a man on a mission in this bottom side. Hansam and Mikyx are supposed to be able to play aggressive, but not an option now. Yike
here now coming in, but he's only level 4. Nisqy now just ticking over to level 6. Caps walking in as well. Fake Nocturne. Pop Blossom gonna go in, gonna knock him up and knock him out. Caps there with the punish, at least a consolation prize for G2, but they will get the kill.
I was on a ward and everything. I thought that maybe Nisqy was going to try and flash past the knock-up coming through from Caps, but ends up getting locked up and a little bit antsy with the kill going back over. Mikyx will spot out Elyoya and River, but not really going to be too much to write home about at the moment.
Nope. Elyoya now escaping. Caps is going to be able to grab this plate in the mid lane, it looks like it. So not too bad. And overall, G2 still holding onto the gold lead, but have to be careful about bleeding those kills. And again, we're really looking for level 6 to be the big breakpoint for G2. Can't afford to give up too much here in the early game.
Yeah, and I mean, for G2, it's kind of heartbreaking that you have some of these kills going across, because you've actually been doing a good job of pushing in waves, threatening, as you can see again, with Yike coming in on this bottom side to try and deny some of this CS underneath the turret to Carzzy. But the fact that Carzzy's been able to turn some of these kills around is working out great. Here, though, Yike tries to see if he can get the smite, but you're completely alone. I mean, look where your bot lane is. Lucian, not even there. You have Nami back in base. And here, I thought Nisqy would try and flash past, but doesn't actually go for it. Instead, Caps able to get that burst damage down and pick off the Ahri.
Yeah, definitely felt like he thought that he could dash through it, thought that he could get that follow-up, and especially once the Pop Blossom and the Tangle Barbs are down, there's not a whole lot of damage left in the kit. Maybe wanted to just get more out of that play. I think it's important to highlight, though, despite the kills kind of going back and forth, being relatively close, 2 to 3, big CS discrepancy in the mid lane, especially in favor of Caps right now. 1K individual gold advantage. A lot of that is the kill and the assist, but the rest is all this CS he's been able to accrue.
And especially when we talked about how you could try and play around this as Elyoya and Nisqy, like get that quicker reset in for Nisqy, try and use the fact you'd have a bit of that extra item advantage and gold advantage to punish Caps, but we didn't really see Nisqy back, and actually Caps, with the push that he had, was able to get a reset at basically the same time as Nisqy. So you're on even Stevens when it comes to items, and now as we start to creep over towards the Rift Herald, just the 8-minute mark as well, BrokenBlade is reset, he's able to get some push on top side. Yike has actually hit the level 6 because of those advantages he got off of the kill experience in the river. So a lot of the advantages that MAD could have tried to play through are actually starting to dwindle now.
Certainly are. Level 6 for Yike. Where's his first ult going to go? For now, just wandering up to the top side, has aggroed the Herald. And with BB having the push, Caps having the push as well, pretty easy Herald take, and oh my god! Little Hextech alternator burst coming out there, definitely hurting.
And he was visible. He didn't even try and turn into anything. Just wait until we get some of the weirdness that can come through. But at the moment, G2, this should be the Rift Herald. I don't think he can test this as MAD even.
Yeah.
Especially with Mikyx was actually hiding in bot side river as well. They weren't sure if Hansam and Mikyx were on the way up, so will be a nice pickup there of the Rift Herald now again for G2.
Clean, steady, controlled. Discipline has been the word coming out of the G2 camp so much, so often. You heard it a lot in BrokenBlade's interviews on day 1, and they've been disciplined. And now Caps, here he goes. Where is he going? That's the sickest movement we've ever seen on a little melee creep. There he goes.
I mean, I don't know about AI there for these creeps. Oh my god,
no way! That's the most disrespectful thing I've seen all season! Carzzy immediately firing back. Oh! My god, that was... Oh!
So we were asking what's Caps going to look like coming into the split, so definitely kind of making a bit of a statement with that one, but my god, how did he make that work?
And we knew always that the ceiling of Caps is just about unmatched in Europe. We hadn't seen it that much recently, but these last 2 games have been good, and this game definitely even better than the day 1 game thus far. He is dominating Nisqy now. BrokenBlade, is he getting aggressive here on the top side? BrokenBlade just going to walk away, denying the dash, flashing out. Dash forward from Chasy, so we'll be able to escape, but Chasy winning out on the 1v1.
And that's what I was going to say, as sick as that was from Caps in the mid lane, you do actually have to come back to focusing on these side lanes, right? Chasy's getting an advantage in this top side, he's getting into a decent spot, but Carzzy again is getting these kills in the bot lane, like Hansam now caught out again by the feathers, and this is once more going to start to cause issues. Like, you were slowly but surely starting to accrue this advantage in the bot side when it came to CS, and actually putting pressure there with Yike, but that's just not actually amounting to anything now. Carzzy's going to be even, should be able to go back and pick himself up his Kraken Slayer as well,
yep.
And that's where it's now going to start to turn into some big issues if Hansam isn't actually able to keep himself safe in this bot lane.
Something we have to keep track of. I mean, uncharacteristic first step from Hansama. Second one a bit more understandable. Kick will connect. MAD Lions fishing for the setup here. Now know that it's warded as Hylissang takes a bit of poke. Taking their time, Dagda. It's an interesting game because the gold lead's still in favor of G2, but almost all of that is mid-jungle now at this stage of the game. So it's on Yike, and Caps really just keep snowballing this advantage as Elyoya just fishing for a play on the bottom side. They will spot him out now. And there's just nothing here. Good patience from Sama and Mikyx. Not getting over aggressive, not trying to stick around for too much damage, and Nocturne's on the way down. Neeko is on the way down.
I think that's why Mad felt a little bit pressure to try and make a play on that bottom side. The fact that you could kind of see the Yike was already hovering there. He still has the ultimate available. You know mid push is about to come through for Caps, so G2 able to shove in bot, shove in mid, rotate over towards this dragon as well. And you still have the Rift Herald here for Yike as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if this ends up becoming a core problem where Caps shoves in mid, immediately starts to lean into bot side. You try and use the fact you have this Rift Herald and get some of this gold back into Ansama.
Important note if you're not familiar with Neeko, the spell being prepped is actually not visible to your opponent when you are disguised. So essentially no reaction time there. You'd have to almost predict flash. It would have been incredibly tight. So while it looks super disrespectful, Caps disguising it all allows him to prep the ultimate in secret, flash in right as the timing is right, land the guaranteed CC chain and the damage to finish off Nisqy. So very difficult to find counterplay to that particular combo.
Yeah, like now going to add insult to injury with this Rift Herald going down to mid. Already a good amount of damage there, but Mikyx.
Oh yeah, flash into commit. Second cast of the ultimate now coming out. Mikyx taking a lot of damage here. Hylissang going to try to finish the job. That's one. Yike now looking for the follow-up. Going in. They want to keep this kill train rolling. They find one already taking down the Wukong. Yike now going to look for one on the Hylissang as well. The cleanse now coming out. Barely able to walk away. The ulti just keeping him standing. 155 health as he starts to tick up.
Great play from G2 though. They expect the bot lane play in response to the fact that Rift Herald gone down to mid lane as Caps gets a good amount of damage here on towards Nisqy, but they cover it. Mikyx and Hans willing to back away from that bot lane turret. They end up having the response from Yike as well, thanks to the ultimate. And now Yike going to get the red buff as well, clear out some of this bot lane. Just G2 playing this map incredibly well. Like you already know that chances are Mad are going to make this play on bot side. And Mikyx, yes, you just go that little bit far forward, but the fact that Hans Sama is able to get a kill back around, but you're the ones that are attempting to make the play. Yes, you will lose out a little bit of that bot lane damage as well on the turret, but Yike would nearly be able to get the kill here. But one of the big things about Milio is that shield giving you that movement speed makes him so hard to lock up if you don't have any CC left in the tank. So Hilly just about able to escape away there.
And ultimately, good use of the semi-global from the Nocturne to kind of respond and punish on that play. Elyoya had a completed item that could have been different. He might have had enough damage to burst somebody down, but here he goes. Will they notice? He's out of position. Okay, well now they should surely notice. Wait a second. Something's wrong. Okay. All right,
it's just a bug. It's all right. Don't worry about the random creep that's in the back. It's all good.
But this is what I'm talking about, anxiety. 80 carries used to check the map, see 4 characters, AFK with their brain and farm. And you can never do it again, Dagda. You're never safe.
Back in my day, 80 carries were excited to see an extra creep.
You know what I
That's
mean?
more gold. This is going to be great.
No longer.
I mean, I appreciate Caps with the effort, though. He's going for it again. I think Nisqy's well aware, but
Carzzy. Not quite going to find the root. Ansama able to sidestep on that one. Well played. Yeah. It used to be all about if you miss the cannon. Now you just want the cannon to miss you. Leave me alone. Level 8 to level 9. These bot lanes both playing super aggressive this game. But BrokenBlade hiding in the darkness, looking for the angle on Poppy. The knockback not quite going to connect to the wall. The ult follow-up is there, though. They're going to force out the feathers from Carzzy. 2 minutes before the dragon spawn, so we will have that cooldown back up in time, but the second Herald will be up, and that cooldown will not be available.
Big one, though, is Yike has his ultimate available. Now, Carzzy has less of those tools available to try and be safe in these fights, so especially with Rift Herald now up and available, I think that's the main focus that G2 are going for. Mad, though, in a great position to just try and cut off Hansama and Mikyx. Yike needs to be so careful.
Playing on the edge here a little bit. Mikyx, at least first items completed across the board for the side of G2 here, as once again, the terror of the extra melee minion comes through. Hylissang, I think he knew what was happening, but it didn't stop him from working. The Ignite taking the shield. The warmest hug you've ever seen is not enough.
He tried everything there, but now on top side, BrokenBlade might be in trouble.
Oh yeah, now going to try to walk in. Nocturne coming in as well. They're just going to try to focus down the Wukong. The fear going through, the fear connecting. Yike now trying to finish this one off with a Stridebreaker, but it's so much damage. Oh yeah, getting the kill back.
That seems to be the story of this game. Every time it's tip for top of BrokenBlade.
BrokenBlade, Caps ready to come over the wall. Pop Blossom coming in with the flash out from Chasy, trying to get the pull back now. BrokenBlade with the wall bang connecting. Caps now on a killing spree.
The Neeko doing work in this one, able to get over the wall, at least buy some space for BrokenBlade to charge into the wall, but a bit of a messy one from G2 there. Nisqy should be able to get into the push onto the bot side to match a little bit of the pressure that Caps has on top, but still Rift Tower going to be up and available. Both teams going to look for the resets and try and go for either that, or maybe just a trade as we look towards Dragon in 30 seconds as well, but you can see every time both these teams are trying to answer for every single play in the map. We get G2 make the play in mid, response from MAD Lions on the top side, but G2, they're just that little bit quicker in getting into position.
Yeah. And right now, Gold League continuing to stretch for G2. Obviously MAD, Drake's staying even, but a lot of these little trades. MAD are fighting blow for blow here. And I think things are going to get easier as we get more items into the belt of Elyoya. You can see he's really starting to hurt now, starting to do a lot more damage. When he gets to that black cleaver, is going to be a lot more effective. But still just waiting to see what the setup is around these objectives.
It's so dangerous for MAD to try and start this up, though. You can see Neeko is on that top side. At least at the moment, Chasy does have push in that top end, so you can see Caps has to take the long walk down. So G2 just going to trade instead, look over towards the Dragon. They're happy to go for it. Even having this push in mid lane as well, Nisqy has to be very careful because there is an opportunity here for the push from Hylissang in mid to lean into bot side and threaten a dive onto bot lane, which is why we see Hilly. He's actually quick on the reset. He wants to get down here to support Nisqy, making sure that 2 towers don't go over for the Rift Tower trade.
Yeah. Chasy gonna grab one. BrokenBlade grabbing one on the bottom side. All of G2 set up with his bot side vision control. They've been so diligent about keeping this up for just about the entire game. Guy can do the game from level 3. The rest of the team now carrying it through. Chasy gonna try to push it on top side. Pretty positive for MAD Lions so they can keep Caps on a side lane. Not give him the power of mid, not allow him to roam around. Can't really just walk into Chasy here, but doesn't really have a reason to. He can just focus on clearing out the creeps. And now he will become, was debating. He wanted to become a caster creep. Chasy said not today.
I think for MAD Lions, the next play here is to try and get Chasy into this bottom side, though. Chasy's in a reasonably good spot to fight toe-to-toe against BrokenBlade. Well, not fight him, but at least, you know, push in and see if he can get some chip damage onto this bot lane turret. Is Nisqy.
BrokenBlade finds the wallbang. Good initial burst. Is he going to use the ultimate here? Everfrost being forced out. BrokenBlade just continues to walk forward menacingly, now trying to deny any potential dashes out. Nisqy with the charm, the extra movement speed. Yike sees an opportunity to engage the mid lane. Tidal wave now coming in. Caps on the backside immediately. Milio taken out of the fight. One snare. Gonna connect on Chasy. Caps now retreating back into the darkness. Carzzy taken down as Hansama will not get caught by the feathers this time. MAD Lions getting run down in the mid lane, but Yike has he straight too far. It's Nisqy up to the side. Nisqy trying to turn, but the wallbang, the denial of any potential dashes. He goes golden, but will it be enough? No! The Barbs finding purchases. Mikyx will remain standing. G2, 4 men strong, pushing down the mid lane.
And G2 are just playing the map incredibly well. They already had that vision established on bot side as Hansama tries to go for more, but won't be able to get it. Mikyx needs to be so careful on that HP, but still G2 covering the flank of Caps with Yike's ultimate is incredibly nice, and it catches MAD Lions with their pants down in the mid lane.
And now G2, you know, always a little bit ahead in gold, but they've been matching blow for blow, but this play so wildly in their favor.
Yeah, just so nice here. The fact you get the tidal wave covered, so you get the early flash from the Milio, means that then you can easily follow up. And Carzzy's left high and dry here as well. Can't go backwards because he's running into the Neeko. Can't go forward because there's the rest of the G2. And now Caps trying to run away.
Caps in trouble. He turned into a cannon minion. No one was convinced. He's got to work on his method acting. They will find the pick on the side lane. 700 gold shutdown to Chasy is big in the fights to come. Taking away that perfect scoreline.
The natural one of the disguise self, not really working out there for Caps, but now G2, at least you're still in a position where you're relatively okay. You were on reset. It's not like you're really in a position to go for anything here as MAD Lions. Yes, you got Baron coming up soon, but you're not really going to rush that down. So at least for G2, it's not going to lead to too much else. They still should be able to get control of bot, get control of mid, and just continue to keep these waves shoved in. Just try and play around again that vision we were talking about in Champ Select to make sure the Caps can be in a position, as MAD Lions try and contest, to try and take them off the map.
Yep. Ooh. Precarious now for the MAD Lions. This much control on the map for G2. Baron, difficult to take. They have BrokenBlade to tank, to be that frontliner, but doesn't really have the tankiest build with Divine Sunderer. Don't exactly shred it. Definitely Nocturne Lucian, not bad, but see what G2 want to go for here, what the setup is going to be. Drake stacking going to take quite a long time as they've only managed to grab their second, but the third around the corner, 1:45 seconds.
I like what we're seeing Yike do, though, which is just consistently hover around Fog of War and look for these kind of plays.
For the ultimate, BrokenBlade, ulti going to knock back the Ahri and immediately can just kick off the fight. The ulti actually going into the support. Carzzy, sweating bullets, uses the ult. just to try to survive there. G2 grabbing a quick and easy pick onto Hylissang.
I love the target selection coming through from MAD Lions. So, come on, buddy.
He's still gonna go for the flash, and he still gets one. He's locked up on the backside. Cap surely dies for it, but he does get the play kicked off, and Carzzy's been caught out. The bubble connects, but there's no follow-up. It's BrokenBlade on the backside. Divine sundering his way through the AD carry, but MAD Lions, they turn and burn. G2 are feeling a little bit too confident on the back of that one as Nisqy now continuing to free fire. It's just Mikyx and BrokenBlade versus the world. Elyoya, you're going to break the tower. MAD Lions going to walk away happy with that exchange.
Just as I was about to praise G2 for their target selection, they just go that little bit too far forward. Caps trying to make the play happen in the 4 versus 5, but the rest of G2 were so far away. So at the start of this, it works out well, where they actually get the pick onto the Milio. They know he's low, but they spot Caps, and they know that Caps is going to go forward here, but where's the follow-up? Sama is trying his damnedest to get into the range. Yike has already used his ultimate, so he's not really in position, and you can see BrokenBlade, yes, he's trying to get the flank off, but again, they get Carzzy, but the rest of their front line's already down, and you have more damage follow-up coming through from MAD as well, thanks to the Wukong, thanks to the Ahri still being in contention.
Yeah, when all those cooldowns are down, it's just easy for Chasy and Nisqy to really take over these fights. Chasy got that 700 gold shutdown, is super strong. When he goes all out, he does so much damage, and if Hans is already taken out, if Yike is low, if Caps has burned all of his cooldowns, it's very easy for him to get a lot of work done. That said, G2 now going to try to contest this one by the looks of it. BrokenBlade already pushed out the bot side wave. They could try to play through there, but I think MAD Lions, much better positioning, much better vision control at this moment in time.
And this is where it gets difficult for G2. You need Caps to try and get in. He has no flash. The rest of your engage is all on Yike, but you don't really want Yike to just be sending himself in when Carzzy still has the flash, the ultimate up soon, even the barrier. But the fact that MAD Lions have given up position now to G2 at least gives them some opportunity now to try and play for flanks off of Caps. Good wards off on the side here will make it tough though as Caps tries to wrap around.
Walking up though for a potential 50-50 here. Tidal Wave gonna go in. They're trying to burn through the objective. Carzzy getting caught out by the bubble, but G2 can just walk away. They got what they came for. Calling big damage onto Chasy. Both sides walking away again, but G2 getting the dragon. Great use of the Nocturne ult.
MAD Lions just gave up too much positioning. They had a great spot there. If they'd actually just positioned themselves in front of the dragon, they would have been fine. G2 weren't really in a position to try and contest mid-wave push, so as they move across, G2 enter, but this is what you have to be careful of. MAD Lions immediately moving over towards the Baron. TP now from Caps into the mid lane to try and get here.
TP into the mid, and the Hextech Rift coming in clutch as well, as it's going to allow G2 to get to the Baron that much faster. Yike over the wall, has flash but no smite for 8 seconds. MAD Lions would have to burn it so quickly. The charm coming out to deny the Poppy ultimate. It looks like they're going to try to go for the fight. The pullback onto BrokenBlade is big, but there's no follow-up. G2 have effectively denied the Baron. They've only really given up a 15-second cooldown when it comes to BrokenBlade's ultimate, as it did not go through.
It's not really much that G2 can do, though. It's trying to see if they can bluff their way through this. They don't have engage unless Caps can close the gap, or even if Yike can get in, but no ultimate on Yike, no flash on Caps makes it very tough. So MAD Lions, they try and get the play on towards BrokenBlade, but not quite able to do so. So G2 at least deny the Baron and should be able to force some waves in as MAD Lions look for this reset.
Yeah, force some waves in, get their vision down. They've already laid down so much. Going for the Baron would be a bit aggressive here, as Nisqy has already had the chance to reset. So they will instead just back away. This is the turn-based game. It is mid to late game League of Legends. JK! G2 keeping that turn going. They are not ready to give that one up. The knock-up perfectly timed on the backside of that ultimate means 2 quick picks for G2, and that should just spell Baron.
G2's turn wasn't up. They'd already gone for the resets that MAD were trying to go for, so MAD tried to push in before everyone's back onto the map. G2 punish, and now they'll be able to get the Baron.
And again, credit to G2, fishing for those angles, not overextending, not overcommitting. And you talked about bluffing. They didn't have any ultimates, but they still stuck around. They denied the initial Baron, and now they've got a Baron for themselves. Well and truly in control of this game. It's going to expire at about the same time that Hextech Soul is going to spawn. So the path to victory very clear for G2.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly all they need to do. Just play this nice and slow, finish it off. But again, we're kind of seeing that G2, I like that we're getting something that's a little bit different from them in this meta that people have been saying is stale, right? We're getting Yike on towards the Nocturne. We're getting to see the BrokenBlade bringing in things like the Poppy, but just a great bubble here coming through from the Nami. And already G2 are in position to follow up. But you can see, like, nobody on MAD Lions is near. You'd already gotten them just trying to get those resets in because they stayed out of the map longer after that Dragon play. So they weren't in a position to take the fight, and G2 knew it.
G2, team play has been good. Mikyx on point. All the bubbles connecting over these first 2 games. See if they can find any picks onto the side lane. Still not the best siege overall. Don't have a big range advantage, but the Neeko can constantly threaten. Cap's waiting over the wall, ready to force a play. Elyoya was hiding in the darkness there, so good diligence from the side of G2. BrokenBlade pushing into mid lane. 2 waves gonna crash. Not quite at the same time here. MAD Lions look like they're just ready to concede these tier 2s. There's no point risking anything for a tier 2 at this stage of the game.
Yeah, it just becomes real hard though when these towers are gone, because as you can see already, you're getting shoved into your base with the Sparm buff. You now gotta get the, oh my god, Carzzy.
Okay. He's gonna back away.
So I was gonna say map state's difficult. When you lose half your health bar, that's also gonna make it very difficult as well. As now G2, then just get the tower.
Gonna get that one. BrokenBlade waiting over the wall as well. Now coming down to the bottom side of the map. Caps is a control. Wait, shh. Nobody's held him. Cancel. Pull back. Caps still a control ward. This is the longest con ever. They're letting their top laner die. Here he goes. Oh, baited! It all came together, but can they actually win the fight, G2? They're too excited about Neeko and not excited enough about winning the game. It turned into a massive throw. It did not work at all.
Why would you fight 4 versus 5? I mean, even the fact that Carzzy immediately was able to get his ultimate off, so there's no follow-up.
Watching BrokenBlade die, that is committing to the bit. Hardcore. You know what I mean? That is going deep undercover. That's like the facial reconstruction surgery level of deep undercover.
I mean, look.
And if they win the game, this is funny. If they lose the game, it's still funny, but also very bad.
And look, the thing is, Caps, he wants to go all in, right? He flashes in on this, but again, the rest of G2, as BrokenBlade goes down, is so far away. They're like, oh no, we're running away. But Caps then, like, he ults, he flashes forward. How do you try and get in here? Like, Hylissang has literally got a Carzzy in his face. Yike goes in, immediately regrets his life choices, and then the rest of MAD are like, all right, brilliant, we've actually got the follow-up here. So, Soul, gonna be gone as well. G2, that was... Maybe you shouldn't become a chef.
Sometimes they're not allowed to cook. And like, credit to G2, they're obviously limit testing a little bit in terms of what the Neeko can do. I think they've learned some more of the limits. They were in a very advantageous position, but giving up that objective bounty, giving up what could have been a soul there in a way that just did not feel necessary, could come back to bite them in this game. Now, it is a single best of 1. But this kind of momentum is so crucial in our season. You really do want to get a high seed, even if both these teams are qualified for the season finals. Still want to get the highest seed possible. Want to be up in double elimination as long as you can.
I think it's also for G2, it's got a little bit personal after spring playoffs, right? Getting knocked out by MAD Lions, taking 4th place when everyone was like, oh, this is the team that is going to take the spring, like go into the finals against BDS. Like, this was supposed to be the MSI of BDS and G2, but then G2 fighting back at MSI, now looking to try and bounce back here again against MAD Lions. And it's been good so far, but it's just when they have a little bit of too much fun is when it goes a bit awry.
Yeah. Surprisingly back and forth this year. We've seen a lot of eras of G2 dominance. We've seen some eras of MAD Lions dominance, but this year they have been trading blow for blow. Still G2 favored overall, and still looking G2 favored in this game. However, the MAD Lions fishing for that angle in the darkness. Cap's doing something similar here.
Really good job by Yike there. Uses the Q over the wall to spot out that Elyoya and Nisqy were waiting over the wings, especially as they start to try and move in towards bot side with Caps. Caps is disguised as the Nocturne. They want to try and figure something out here, but at least this control ward will let them get in right behind MAD Lions. They have no idea that Neeko's going to be in this bush.
Still just a Nocturne. Now a control ward once again. It is very hard to take my job seriously with this champion on the Rift.
What do you mean? Why would you have issues?
How do you cast this? Pop Blossom, this is good. He doesn't have to turn into anything. What a pick. Yeah, goodbye to Carzzy. There's absolutely no way out of that one. Some good damage back. Yike gonna get pulled under the tower, but G2 find the angle.
The MAD Lions completely caught out of position there. They tried to contest the mid push so they could try and get some control over River as this Baron was about to spawn, but it ended up costing them way too much. Really good flank from Caps there, going right the way around and working around the vision that had already been established by G2. The MAD Lions just never cleared out.
No. Now the TP coming in, they're just looking to break open the base. Big man advantage, AD carry now down. They should be able to break open at least one inhibitor, take the bot inhibitor as well, most likely. So total control, 20 seconds till the Baron spawns. 2 massive pressure points on the map. G2 again, the path to victory is clear. Last time they turned into a control ward, and well, muddied the waters a little bit on where that path was, but they seem to have gotten back on track.
It does kind of make me giggle that turning into a control ward makes you able to less see what you're supposed to be doing, but look, G2, they're in a great spot here. You've already got the control on bot side. It's going to make things easy. You start to move over towards this Baron as well. And again, like, you have this push in mid already. You've got a ton of vision already established. The good news for MAD Lions is that you do have some TP wards that maybe you can look for, like Nisqy or Carzzy to try and flank into, but Elyoya needs to not get caught.
The calling now coming out, has to try to spin out to Sadie. BrokenBlade working his way in, but Chasy with the slows just to make sure that a jungler can get out. Now they're just trying to isolate BrokenBlade. BrokenBlade overextending and now getting picked off. Carzzy gonna grab that kill. Big pick. Nocturne ult now down. 2 Nocturnes, 1 behind is going to be Caps. The actual Yike there, going to spell shield out. Hansama taking a bit of chip damage. Mikyx now getting run down by Elyoya. Bubble will connect. Mickey most likely going to be forced to flash out here, but waiting as long as possible. Leashing the Baron now to deal a bit of damage. Mickey making it out to safety, but MAD Lions, they've started the objective, but it's Yike, not Yike. Caps Yike on the bottom side here. Pushing in, he doesn't have a way behind him, but supers are now coming if they can deny, if they can slow this down, if they can stop the bases, then Neeko can end the game. Yike trying to steal away the objective, but he will not be successful. Baron empowered recalls. Nisqy should be able to get his off. G2 need to back away, but the Baron will go to the side of MAD Lions.
I mean, there's 2 Yikes, but that's a big Yikes from G2. The fact that you managed to throw away the play on bot side, you've now lost Baron, and as well, like, Caps was in this position where once more he's trying to go for this mega flank, but MAD Lions are just like, cool, well, we can just TP into position with Nisqy, we can immediately jump onto you in River, and you now fighting, because we picked up BrokenBlade, 3 versus 5. Brilliant play from MAD Lions, but G2, they're just trying to do too much with this. Just play it simple. You have the flash, you can just play off of that with Caps.
I agree. It's getting a little bit weird in this one, Dagda, and I'm really here for it based on day 1 games. I'm all for creative angles. But MAD Lions, we saw it yesterday too, just feel rock solid in these mid to late games.
Oh no, oh no.
Oh, Caps. Ooh, gating out to safety. Okay, we'll make it away. And again, imagine yourself, play-by-play caster, game 5, a control ward, turning Neeko, decide, like, just, I want you to think about how weird that will be. You know? It's not into the meat grinder of perks, it's into the unsuspecting control ward. That's just, I'm just saying it's anticlimactic.
I mean, look, the tension's there. Caps has flash. Can he get over the wall here? Still is Nocturne, but Elyoya goes over the wall. Really good call.
Nocturne all now coming out. He's going to find Carzzy, but the timing isn't quite right. Carzzy pulling the feathers back, finding 1. Hansama still untouched, trying to do as much damage as he can on the fight line. Big damage now coming through. That's another member taking out Carzzy, trying to get the dragon. Carzzy getting the dragon. Yike getting it taken down as well. And MAD Lions fishing for the fight, but Hansama still standing. The knock now coming through. Hans set to fall, but he keeps on dishing out damage. Mickey, the last man standing. He will go to a quick and early grave at the hands of Chasy as Chasy goes godlike here in this matchup.
The fact that Carzzy got that dragon was so crucial there. The amount of opportunities that you had here for G2 to try and make this work was monumental, but great play from Elyoya, massive brain. Ends up catching out Caps, who then has to go in early. Hilly's able to flash away. Carzzy able to ult before the engage comes through, and it means that now you've got this front to back that you can actually set up properly. You don't have to worry about so much of those problems coming through, and Carzzy's so strong. Like, how did Carzzy manage to steal that one away?
All that matters is that he did. Hansama playing very well on the backside here to get the kill back onto Elyoya. Mickey will ultimately go down 2. But now MAD Lions are tied in Drakes. They've got a gold lead. What?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a messy one. And now MAD Lions, like, the big advantage that G2 still have is that both inhibitors are down, right? So you can still try and play around this to a certain extent, but your bot inhibitor is going to go up shortly, mid's not going to be too far behind it. So at least these super creeps will keep some of the waves pushed in for the moment, but as soon as MAD Lions get those 2 sorted, they can actually start to push out. You're looking at a full build now coming through from Carzzy. You've already got the Nisqy who's starting to come online as well. Like, it definitely feels like MAD Lions are getting in position. It's Mickey.
Again, looking for the angle on the pick. That's the second charge of the ultimate. Elyoya just grabs a quick pick onto Mickey.
And that's such an important pick as well. Mickey's kind of needed there to try and keep Hansama safe from people like Chasy, Elyoya, Nisqy in these fights. And with that gone, you can see immediately G2 start to fall back on the map. And again, MAD Lions are taking step by step, walk out of their base, just get a little bit more vision control down. And I mean, for G2, they tried to do too much, and now MAD Lions are like, fantastic, we've hit our late game. We're in a great spot with Carzzy. Let's just have Carzzy be our big carry here.
And MAD Lions playing out these fights so well. very disciplined in the execution here. And yeah, it's definitely some missteps on the side of G2, but MAD Lions keeping their eye on the prize this entire game. Rock solid, really. And it gets harder and harder, I think, for G2 to find these angles. You talked about it. You've got a Poppy, you've got a Tidal Wave. You have a lot of tools that are great follow-up engage, but not great primary engage. And that makes a lot of these fights that much harder to navigate. Now, if Caps had connected that Pop Blossom onto Carzzy in the previous fight, it could have looked very different, but as he was unable to, MAD Lions now just really going for the throat here, pushing down on the bottom side of the map, looking to break open an inhibitor, but G2 might try to trade it. Don't really have that option.
The G2 were trying to avoid MAD Lions on the map. We're like, look, we can't take a fight right now. We're 4 versus 5, and we're just not really in a position to actually team fight unless Caps can get in position, and with no flash, it's not going to be a case. So MAD Lions call the bluff. They're like, cool, we're going to push in bot. We get 2 towers for it. Yes, we'll trade a red or tower on top side, but Nisqy had his TP just momentarily coming up, so he was like, I'll answer top lane push. I can always TP in if they actually start to over-index into this top side push. So MAD Lions, now they're the ones playing the map better. Now G2 are the ones in the back foot, and with Baron in a minute's time, G2 need to find a pick before they start to come into these fights.
Definitely do. A lot of luxury items coming through, a lot of nice items to have. You got, Azania's on the one side, the Guardian Angel not quite up for Elyoya, but you have double GAs for the 80 threats on the side of G2. The downside is GA obviously not the strongest damage output item. It's full damage coming in here from Carzzy. Has so many defensive tools up and available to him with the Milio beside him. We can see Mikyx doing his best to match that with the Mikyx. And I mean, it's just all going to come down to execution in these last fights. The next decisive team fight should just end the game 37 minutes in.
I just don't know how G2 are going to try and get the position that they really need back. They want to try and pick off, realistically, someone who's separated, but MAD, you can see, just grouped as 5 in mid. They're just going to shove out mid and then start to rotate down into this bottom side into this top side for the vision control that they need for the Baron. They do need to try and make a call, though, because you do have 45 seconds until that dragon's up, and when the map starts to become split, that's where it's going to become an issue for MAD. So I think they do need to pull the trigger on something, but I do like that they're staying as 5, making sure Yike can't try and use that ultimate to pick anyone off.
Yeah, keeping grouped and keeping G2 grouped on top of them. Caps, a fake minion, is going to find the snare onto 2. That's big. Carzzy taking a ton of damage here. But now the healing starting to come through as the Bloodthirster as well. Instantly just healing back up.
The big change coming through for the BT, the 18% lifesteal coming in clutch there, because he's actually going to be able to heal it back up, make sure that he's in a good spot. Dragon now up in 15 seconds. MAD Lions have positioned themselves in river, but G2 may call the bluff and just immediately start to run down this mid lane as well.
Carzzy continuing to step forward, extra movement speed. Able to just threaten and poke here. Neither side really wants to face check the other. So just a lot of posturing around the mid lane. G2 going to try to get mid prio first, and again, discipline, trying to keep things by the books here. That's the ultimate coming out for Yike, but that's the objective gone. That's Hextech Soul now coming through the tidal wave. Not going to connect on anybody. G2 walking away empty-handed. That's got to be frustrating.
This is where you can see, though, G2, they have complete control of this top side. It's dark for MAD Lions. G2, can they try and wait in this fog of war? Catch out MAD Lions as they're starting to come through.
MAD Lions need to be twice as diligent now. You never know what's a Neeko. Hansama off to the side, though. Good damage onto Hylissang. Carzzy continuing to step forward. Ultimate coming out a little bit earlier, anticipating Caps, looking for the angle. Hansama trying to dash. Both AD carries still standing, but Carzzy's the one continuing to auto. He's doing so much more work. It's Elyoya versus Yike. Off to the side. Now leaping in, going to take the G out immediately. Nisqy ready for the fall. The feathers already laid down. Hansama, can he make his way to this one? The flash, the dash out to safety. Hansama, the shutdown coming through with Carzzy. Finds his mark. G2 in trouble. G2 on the retreat. 3 members standing. MAD Lions, will they look to end it here?
MAD, they've got the push. You can see they already got that bot lane prep. They can immediately walk down towards this, manage to take the inhib and see if they can get that little bit more. They don't care about the Baron. They want to end it right here against G2.
Pushing forward. Caps, Yike, and BrokenBlade. No ulti for BrokenBlade. What can they clear? Mikyx here as well. Tidal wave in 5. They just need to delete the minions as quick as they can. Cannon, the last thing standing. Should be able to take this one, but Chasy wants to keep it going. Ulti immediately going to come in. The engage denied by the Poppy. The steadfast presence sends Yike off into the backside, but he's going to go down. The GA bringing it back up. G's trying to hold on to their base, but MAD Lions will not let it happen. Carzzy again coming in clutch, finding kill after kill. That's the GA. It is only BrokenBlade versus the world. And in our match of the week, it is the MAD Lions coming out on top.
Waiting MSI anymore, and it is domestically where MAD Lions keep hitting down G2, and that trend will continue here in the first week of LEC.
And I gotta say, again, discipline is the buzzword of the day. MAD Lions keeping it together, not allowing themselves to be caught over and over again by the same trick. And I have to feel good after that one. I mean, fantastic game. And again, I want to highlight Chasy because when we looked at this game, you know, early game, I felt like BrokenBlade was getting so much done. But in those late game fights, Chasy was a monster. Monster scoreline, incredible performance. And really, I think if we look back, G2 kind of going to be hitting themselves because I felt like everything was in their court until that bottom side play. And what we say, no matter what, it's a funny play, it's a cool play, it's a highlight. But when you win the game, it gets to be funny and fun, and when you lose the game, it's rough. Yeah, it's gonna be crushing because the ball, you had everything, and you threw it away.
Yeah, people have said the top lane's a little bit irrelevant, and G2 took that real serious on that bot lane play, but it did come back to bite them. At this stage, I definitely agree. I think G2 had everything in the palm of their hands. They just need to slowly clean this one out, and they tried to do too much. They could have just played it simple. I mean, Neeko's actually still really good when the enemy team has to engage into you, so if you're just looking to poke away the bot lane tower, well, the opposite team has to try and do something, but instead, they end up giving it away, and MAD Lions, they took their opportunity when they saw it.
Yeah. And now you two can take your opportunity to head on over to Twitter at LEC. Chasy, Elyoya, Carzzy are your options for player of the game. Wild match of the week. Yeah. And not because it was the cleanest game, but it was definitely a very, very hype game. Respect to the Neeko. Love what we saw there. Let's send it on over to the post game. Nisqy going to be joining them shortly.
So far, it's been a dirty weekender, but we love a little bit of a dirty weekend here in Berlin. Caps getting Neeko was definitely something that I personally wasn't expecting to slip through the draft, because if there's any mid laner who's going to work well with Neeko, it's going to be Caps.
Yeah, I mean, all I heard Rekkles saying was just like, is this going to be a Caps Neeko game? Caps Neeko game? Because it definitely fits his personality, right?
Yes, so much, I think. And I guess you got the best part of it this game, and you also got the worst part of it this game, because he had everything.
He certainly did. He started off by attacking bot lane as another Lucian, committing his TP into the mid lane as well. And like, one of the things the casters did mention it, but something that Rekkles educated me on during the game was that as long as you are transformed into something else, you don't see the ultimate until the champion turns back into Neeko. And this is another example where the only reason why this play works is because he couldn't tell. He had no idea that the ultimate was going to come through. And multiple times it just felt like Caps was doing a great job of catching the opposition off guard because they're not used to playing against that Neeko.
Basically what you have to keep in mind, is when you're spectating it like this, the second he turns back into Neeko is the first time you see the ult. Unless I am mistaken, Nisqy.
I mean, yeah, I believe so.
It's the first time you see it. So when it's the minion in mid lane, he's running at you, you don't actually see it until it's
you're
too late.
In the air, yeah. Which is kind of unbalanced.
So how was it playing against it?
Oh my! On every single wave, it's like, guys, where's Neeko? And then we all press tab to see. And then sometimes you see that like she shows, right? But then she's just herself.
So how does that tab thing actually works?
Basically, when you press tab, you see her, even if she's like a minion.
Yeah.
You see it, her like her
like flashing up.
Yeah, flashing up.
Yeah.
But she could be anything.
Yeah.
So it's I
have to figure out where she is.
I hate it.
You must be prepared though for Caps to pick her when she's left open in the draft. So you must have had some kind of preparation for this moment.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think she's really strong, but I actually don't think she's that easy to execute. I would say. I mean, I think for example this game it was very ahead, but fights are actually not that easy to play on this champ because when you commit, you kind of have to win the fight immediately, or else you're just a sitting duck waiting to die. So yeah.
So we're not going to see you playing her anytime soon?
I mean, if it's open against me and we don't have to pick something else maybe, but yeah, for now, I didn't get the chance to.
Well, so one of the things that Rekkles was talking about during the draft was we noticed, especially when we look at that bot fight where you came back, Milio was like a pretty effective counter because the second you do see the Neeko ultimate, you can pop that. And then even if you get it a little late, the extra tenacity can actually be super valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I think Milio is also kind of unbalanced as a champ, I would say. So like they kind of counterbalance themselves. So yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, I think Neeko is very strong, but you can play against it, I believe.
But if you were to play Neeko, would you do it like Caps did this game where he would constantly look for flanks? As in this case, he was disguising as the Nocturne, but he was almost always behind you guys. Would you play it from front more or also look for the flanks?
I mean, I think if enemy team had a Xayah, I would probably not go for a flank. But I also feel like if he does not go for the flank, then they cannot really win fights. And they also have Nocturne, which allows him to go for these flanks, and that's why the combo is decently strong. But I mean, we also play it ourselves, so we kind of know how to play against it. And I think it's not easy to execute, especially on stage where it's like high pressure and all. So
yeah, we were talking a little bit before the game about Nocturne and Neeko together because neither of us really understood the Nocturne here. You see the Xayah already, you have the Milio as well, so it feels like you're kind of over-forcing the combo, even though it does make sense. You see no one on the map, all of a sudden there's Nocturne and Neeko at the same time, so it does make sense in that.
It did catch you guys out a couple times, like in mid lane early on, you got caught out every now and then. Like I imagine that engage is pretty fast and difficult to deal with.
I mean, the problem is that when Nocturne ults, it's like you need to be careful of like flanks, of TPs, and with Neeko becoming anything, she could literally be a minion or like a plant, then you kind of get dizzy at times, right? And during the 6 seconds, you're like, okay, like am I gonna get one shot by Neeko or not? And I think the Nocturne Neeko combo makes Neeko, I would say, even more OP for what she wants to do, right? And I think that's why I picked it, even though I would say it was not the greatest into our comp, but yeah.
Well, should we talk about the comeback? It's starting really with Cats transforming into that control ward in the bot lane. I think we can actually take a closer look at what happened.
Or did you have no idea?
Yeah, I was wondering in game if you actually had vision.
I mean, okay. Here I was pressing tab and I was like, guys, Neeko is somewhere, you know? I was like, she's somewhere, I don't know where, but she's somewhere on this map. And then here we're fighting. I'm like, careful, Neeko. Neeko is one of these like 2 minions, you know? Because I was like, she must be one of these 2 because she's still there. I mean, at this point, we still didn't know. And then now it's kinda...
And here you see the Milio ult.
Yeah, the Milio ult, which allows Xayah to ult.
Yeah, Carzzy enough time to ult before the E lands.
Yeah, and then, I mean, once their engage fails, it's very easy for us to clean up because we have Ahri that can chase, we have K'Sante ult and all, so yeah.
But do you think this was the turning point?
Yeah, I mean, I believe so. I think they were ahead for the majority of the game, I believe. And then we came back and Xayah was monster fed. And I think Xayah was really OP versus their comp. So.
Yeah, I noticed, like, one of the things I was going to ask you is, did it feel easier as the game went on to, like, read the Neeko? Because I felt like the way I would interpret this game is at the start, you were kind of being constantly caught off guard with the surprises. But then we saw in multiple fights, Carzzy was, like, ulting almost immediately. And it felt like
even before the Neeko.
I mean, I would say that for the first 2 ults or team fights that we had, it was kind of rough. We didn't really know what was going on in some ways. But then once we realized that they had to just one-shot Xayah or else they can't win, we made sure that we tracked the Neeko even with more like agency or like urgency, I guess.
Here you say
like here, for example, he was the Lucian, and I was screaming, guys, this is not Lucian, this is Neeko. And then the guys, I guess, knew and he just ulted.
I mean, it sounds like you had fun. I mean, obviously you walk away the victors, but it's a frustrating thing to experience. But I know from the Caps' side, I'm sure he's saying that, like, this was a lot of fun. I imagine it's one of those situations for you where once you figured out the trick, it's really fun. It's just stressful up until that point.
Yeah, I mean, once you kind of figure it out, it's easier for sure. And I think, I mean, Neeko being in the game is actually, I think, a fun... the fun part, because a champ like this never existed before, where like you could transfer into anything else, and I don't know, her ult is so OP, like you don't see it, and this champ is just something else,
Talking of OP, can we just quickly give props to Chasy as well?
Chasy, I don't know. Guy. Pick him K'Sante and...
Yeah, well, I mean, we've only seen 2 best of 1s so far, week 1, Summer Split, but he is on some kind of momentum train right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think when he has his comfort champs and when he's confident in himself, he's probably the best in EU, I would say. I mean, the first 2 games he played K'Sante, which I think is also kind of OP, but he does it. Thing is that I feel like he has such a good agency of the champ and he knows what to do with it throughout the whole game. And I believe that, for example, in EU, I can see some K'Santes as kind of int some team fights, but I feel like with him, everything is kind of calculated. He doesn't ult and lose like 30% of his HP for no reason, stuff like that. I think he plays team fights very well, and that's where he makes the difference.
Thank you so much for joining us on the DAS Nisqy, and congratulations on being 2-0 this weekend. Now, after the break, we are going to hear from BDS coach Striker ahead of their game versus Koi, so do not go anywhere.
Now coming in, but he's only level 4. Nisqy now just ticking over to level 6. Caps walking in as well. Fake Nocturne. Pop loss going to go in. Gonna knock him up and knock him out. That's the sickest movement we've ever seen. A little melee creep. There he goes.
I mean, I don't know what AI does for these creeps. Oh my god, no! No way! No way! Most disrespectful thing I've seen all season!
I think I've seen. Oh, wait. I'm on Xayah. He's one HP. Nice. It's gonna be fair. Nice, guys, we got nice now.
Cannon, the last thing standing. Should be able to take one of the chance he wants.